Welcome, everyone. I'm Ivy Rivera. I'm a psychic medium, a Taino airwalk, and this is Get a Grip on Your Money, Career, and Investments Q&A show, where I take all types of questions on any of those topics. So it could be spiritual, karmic, energetic. You can ask literal questions about your finances, career moves you're thinking of making, and do include the name of anything very specific that you're referring to. If you're not comfortable doing that, you can put the initials there. Okay. And Jill will be taking your questions. Again, if you are on TikTok or Instagram, Jill's posting in the comment section how you can submit your payment in question. $5 gets you the short answer. $10 gets you the long answer. Let's go ahead and get into it. Jill, who do we have? All right, so we have a $10 from Ayana. And Ayana wants to know, how can Taishik align with his meant work path? So when I go over here with Taishik's energy, we're asking about his life contract, right? So you're asking, what did he sign on to before he came to Earth? What's he supposed to be doing with his true path? This will match his numerology chart, his Vedic or Western astrology chart, and you guys could book a life contract with me at any time. I'm looking at the 5 to 6 major level up opportunities and what you're supposed to be doing primarily with your work. So when I look at this for him, it feels like he's been out of alignment the last 2 years. It seems like what happens with him is that he starts and stops. So he was sort of going forward. This was probably ballpark 3 years ago. And then around 2 years ago, he may have stalled out on some things. He was supposed to continue going after. You have to proceed forward even when it looks difficult or disruption comes in. Blocks and obstacles will often come in when we're approaching a level up. I like to say new level, new devil. That's just how it's going to go. And it's for all things in life. Now, what he really ought to be doing, and he has a good sort of window of opportunity to be doing more of this over the course of the upcoming, I want to say 8 to 9 months. And there will be a divide in his circumstances between the 8th and the 9th month out from now. What he should be doing is focusing on what he wants to be doing with his speech, his leadership, whether this is training people, this is talking to people in more of like a group setting. It does feel like he's moving up the ladder. That could look managerial. It could also be something that he's taking more liberty to do on his own. And so if he's looking at doing anything with entrepreneurship, business ownership, independent contracting, that would also count with this. So we see a general leveling up right around that time. I also think that there could be a little bit of a hammer of, karmic delivery going on between the 8th and the 9th month. That's normal. You have a level up. You're also going to have this. And that will be positive for him if he's done the work. Some areas it could look negative, but it's really just a detoxing phase where he has to let go of holding on to some things that really aren't working for him. So if he's not seeing naturally those promotions come, he needs to speak out and claim them. And if that isn't working, he needs to go get them on his own. So what he's really trying to do or should be focusing on for the upcoming 2 years is getting himself into more of this position of authority where he can call the shots, not only on like what he's organizing or how he's organizing it, but when he's organizing it, which means he can dictate more over his schedule. Ultimately, I see him getting out of like anything that really involves other people or would feel like a boot on his neck, and he's getting more and more into I'm hearing exclusivity and his ability to run things on his own independently. So autonomy. And if he is working with other people, he has the authority to decide that, sign that contract if he wants to. And that will also dictate how much power or influence these people have over what he's doing at all. So this is sort of the last stage in him moving up once and for all, if he takes it. Okay. So you could say that's business ownership. Okay, that's independent contracting, ultimately, is where he's supposed to be. A lot of musical ability with him as well. So he could be working with musicians quite a lot in all of that. Okay, thank you so much, Ayana. We're going to move on to another question. This is from a Nicole Buchanan. This is a $5 question. And Nicole wants to know, will I turn my finances around and be able to get into a good place? Will you be able to? We're always able to. That doesn't eliminate new obstacles coming in, new challenges, different levels up potentially. There is no way to get to one place in life and just like stay there. Um, I think that what you need to do is change some of your mentality about I'm hearing spending. You have a grandmother coming through, you have a grandfather coming through. I'm hearing from your work and money guide ideas about how you can't also save. So let's talk about the first one, okay? When they're referencing your spending, I don't necessarily feel like you're sloppy about it. I um think that you may have some irrational feelings over spending, like it's all or nothing. I may as well blow everything I have because what's the point? I can't save anyways. It's almost like you're looking at your spending in direct relation to how much you can save and you're feeling defeated, therefore you're not spending properly. Okay, this isn't like stop eating the avocado toast and getting lattes. It's not that type of a situation. It's not wasteful. And even if you were, I don't care, eat the avocado toast, drink your latte. You know what I mean? It's not even about that. It's about understanding that you can create a savings and you are thinking about that in a positive way. You are assured and claiming that for yourself, instead of being like, well, I can never save, therefore I may as well, spend on what I need temporarily. So you are entering into the upcoming years, going to be a period of opportunity for you, grandmother, grandfather, your work guide helping you through this, but some of it is mental and emotional. Okay. So take a look at your relationship, the way you think about those two things, your spending in direct correlation to your ability, or in this case, inability in your mind to save. It can happen. It will happen. Just be determined. That's the solution for you. And you're breaking some old generational curses in doing so. All right. Thank you, Nicole. So this year, interesting year for you. That's fun. All right. And what else do we have coming in here? We have one from Alice, and this is a $5 question. So Alice wants to know, I was born into a family that has no generational wealth. It feels like a generational curse. How can I create wealth and break the curse? Okay, so I would love to hear in the comment section who else has this problem. I understand this. I also came from poverty. So, when we're talking about, first of all, when we're talking about a generational curse, that isn't a real thing. Okay. So I understand that maybe the way you said it, you mean that there's psychological programming handed down from generation to generation, right? Or your family hasn't been able to break out of the system of poverty. So that is accurate. But as far as there being an actual curse put on your family that has now trickled down to you and it's affecting your finances, and you feel as though, you're kind of running this relay race in life with a broken leg, that is not a real thing. So attacks in that way are not true. But first of all, make sure, and this is for anyone listening to this question, make sure you understand that and that you really believe that, because it's like hoodoo. If you believe you're broken and your money will always be broken because there is a curse put upon you and your family and you have all this evidence toward it, you will be causing it through law of attraction and negative manifestation. All right. So get that straight. How can I create wealth and break the curse? Well, when you're dealing with something like generational poverty, you're really having to look at a different way of saving and investing than what the previous generations have done. Now, possibly previous generations didn't have enough to invest or really create generational wealth. Maybe they did. In my case, with my family, I had a little bit on my white grandmother's side, but when she got sick, because she got sick and we're here in America, They took the house, they took any savings, they hit her kids, and everyone basically ended up homeless because she got sick. This is a for-profit medical system, so sometimes there was a little bit of wealth, but you never saw it, and everyone had poverty mentality from taking that hit. So you have to understand that whether it's that they never had wealth or they lost the wealth, what you're trying to do is create a savings for yourself so that you have a buffer zone as much as you possibly can. And then you want to do what you can to wisely invest your money so that it is working for you. So it's not like this grind. You're part of the machine every day. You're waking up, you're going to a 9 to 5 or whatever it is, you're unhappy at your work and you're always under this glass ceiling. You need to break out from that. What I'm going to also recommend to you and to really anyone else tuning in at this point is that we are in a period of revolution with this. So what we're supposed to be doing in the world in general is looking more at autonomy with our work and our financial stability. And that does involve a lot of entrepreneurship. That also involves a lot of healing work. So we have these new generations of healers being born, but you want to think in unconventional ways about that. There are a million different ways to heal the world and to receive financial support back from that as you should, but it doesn't have to look like tarot card flipping or astrology or what I'm doing now. Okay. So think outside the box. Where's the demand? That's where the demand is. Okay. Get your money working for you, invest, and, keep at it. Always make that a priority. And eventually you can hand that down to future generations. And that is breaking the curse. All right. Thank you so much, Alice, for that question. We're going to move on to another one. This is from a Divine Rose on TikTok. And this is a $10 question. So Divine Rose wants to know, hi, Ivy, should I stay with the company I'm currently at? Okay. And did she give the name or the initials? Or am I just winging it? Okay, I guess that's it. You guys, when you talk about a company, if you don't want to give the full name of the company, which would be best, just at least give the initials. So I know exactly where I am. It helps me to move faster. Okay. Should you stay with the company where you currently are? I don't feel great about it. I mean, honestly, it feels done. I'm hearing dead, done, over with. And I think, well, that's coming from your guides. Okay. I think that's a little dramatic in that statement, like it's dead, done, over with, because I typically, when we hear that, we think we need to leave, we need to rush out of there right now. I don't think that's happening. Meaning I don't think you're like getting fired, you're getting pushed out. I don't think you've exceeded the deadline by which you have to leave before bad things start happening. We never want to be the last one to leave the party. You don't want negative karmic kickback. But I would say that about 4 months ago, it did start to become very obvious to you that you needed to leave the company. Then something else happened 2 ago. I can't tell if you guys are talking about 2 months or 2 weeks ago. It was probably both. This thing that happened 4 months ago, this thing that happened 2 months ago, and then something that happened about 2 weeks ago. And so it's like you're in a pattern. There's undeniable evidence to show that you're in a pattern of discomfort. You're also feeling psychically, I feel for you, very drained. And you're feeling a lack of ambition, which means you're really not feeling like this is in alignment with your life contract at all. So it's like you come to earth to do these things, and we should be able to feel passionate about these things and actively move forward with some sense of like assertion or even aggression. And there's nothing. It's like, you're taking a nap under the desk as often as possible. And it's like, can I get out of here yet? And you also don't seem to want to go in. Like you don't really want to deal with it at all anymore. I don't think that, again, while your guides are saying dead, done, over with, I take that. It's true. But I think that if you can be calm, cool, collected, start looking elsewhere, you have a short window of time here to go ahead and leave before things do become uncomfortable. I would say about 2 months. And you should be able to apply if you want to stay in the vein of what you've been doing, or even like, look at your resume and look at your tools and look at your training, your certifications, any type of like diploma that you've earned, anything you've done with your education. Even if you want to look there at some things that you haven't really fully utilized, you could go in either direction, back out into the world. You're applying. I feel like you already started doing this. I don't know if you did this mentally and or literally, but it feels like it's already getting done. and go ahead and put that resume out. And I think you're going to be able to make a considerable amount more than what you are. I also feel like you're going to be able to level up. And so it's almost like this new position, title, whatever it is for you that allows you to sort of like be the brand, be seen, be heard. It allows you to network into the future, and it's a lot of leverage. Okay, going up 2 additional times. So staying where you are, I get nothing. I get nothing. Okay. All right, good luck with that. I know it is a big change, but it's definitely time. All right. She's a great example. She's a great example of you see how she's asking this question in a timely manner? She's like, I feel like I need to leave. She's just double checking and making sure. And then she's getting prepared, to look at alternatives. It's people like her that succeed and can create a nice trajectory for themselves, long-term generational wealth. They're going to have enough to create a savings and invest and toy around with things because the universe honors that type of attitude. The universe does not appreciate when you are like dug in. You're going to stay at that same shitty company you've been at for 13 years that you hate, or that position, and you're like, well, it's 9 years till I retire from teaching, but you're miserable. It's taking a toll on your health. And you're like, I'm dug in. Universe gives you negative karmic kickback for that. Okay. If it is not part of your life contract, you have no business being there. And if it was part of your life contract, but things have moved and shifted and you're supposed to be doing something else, you have to be fluid. Okay. Money is fluid. Wealth is fluid. The universe wants you to be prosperous. Okay. Don't think of everything in regards to prosperity as being like just your paycheck. Okay. There's a lot more to it than that. And no type of prosperity can get in when you're dug in and creating a block in your life. Okay. So she's doing it the right way. All right. Was that Divinity Rose? Is this the one I just answered already? I forgot who I was talking to. Oh, she said, that is spot on. I'm so drained. Yeah, you really are. You really are tired. You should never have to wake up and just feel like you're dreading your day. You know what I mean? There's no energy coming back into you from your work. So that's why you're drained. We have another question here coming in from a Yolanda, and this is a $5 question. Okay, so Yolanda wants to know, hi, Ivy, I made a mistake in 2020. Will I recover and get back on the right business track? Because I am tired. Okay, so let me look at what happened and the recovery. The recovery really seems to be going on now. I want to say within the last 1 to 2 months, and then like we're going 6 months forward. I'm sorry, I said that wrong. So maybe we're within a 6-month range. No, that could be. Okay, because there's like 2 months of wiggle room, so maybe 8 months forward. It depends. Okay, so a little bit of this is controlled by free will, meaning it's not destiny charted. I can't give 100% guarantee on the timeline. There are too many hands in the pot, including yours, okay, to dictate exactly when this works out. But you are within, like, let's say an 8-month period, okay, going back a little bit and then forward mostly for the next 6 to 8 months, where you can make adjustments to this. Now, some of the adjustments that I'm seeing almost remind me of, and you have a lady coming through here who's she's very bossy. She reminds me of a teacher, maternal energy. It's like, I'm going to say it once. If you didn't hear me, good luck with that. I'm not repeating myself. I'm not pontificating. I'm not talking to hear myself talk. I'm not talking to hear myself think. She's very accurate, but when she comes in, she's pretty forceful on giving you signs and symbols. Pay attention to your dreams, especially in visits from her, and a ringing in your left ear, like a tinnitus or a frequency. And then she puts thoughts in your head, the solutions in your head, makes you look at your phone or your computer. Here's the solution. You get that phone call, you get that email. Okay. She's working with you on this, but there is this sense of you, first of all, having to learn from what went on. So on a universal scale, which always affects our finances, we have to say, what's the lesson? What was the point? What's the bigger picture here for this thing happening? Okay. And just make a list. What have you learned from this? Okay. What would you do differently? I also think, though, with these opportunities coming in, it almost feels to me like a loan or a grant or a change with a debt owed, or something from the government, or a tax break, or it's like within the vein, and it's probably multiple things is what she's trying to show me here, but it's almost like it's within the vein of like, I'm forgiving you of this. So it's going to create ease. So that's coming in, and that may be like the grand finale. Okay. The conclusion of the cycle. Brush it off. She says, get up, shake off the dirt. Okay. Brush yourself off, chin up, eyes forward. Everything's fine. Okay. It's wrapping up. All right. Thank you so much. She loves you very much. Good luck with that, Yolanda. We have another question coming in here from an Edgar, and this is a $10 question. So Edgar wants to know, when do you see me purchasing a home? Well, there's a big difference between when you can purchase a home and when you choose to purchase a home. And I see you doing this like game, this like one step forward, two steps back. I don't know if this is going to be like your first home. It feels like it may be, but you may not know what you're doing. Here's the thing with buying real estate. And I've been buying it up since I was like 20 years old. You have to be like a vulture. Okay. You can't be like lukewarm. I don't know. You're dealing with the broker. You're looking for things yourself. You're online. That broker stinks. Get a new one. You know what I mean? Like if you make the decision to do this, you need to be on your game. Especially in this market. Okay. You have to pay attention to what's going on. You have to pay attention to what's also going on with like interest rates and the housing. I'm assuming you're in America here. So then that's where you're looking. The housing market crisis, the whole thing is, like a big game. It's like a big game of chess. And if you're going to win, you have to be on the offense. Sometimes you're kind of on the defense, and you have to be at it and stay at it. I would say the most important thing for you, if you want to hit at about a year and a half out from now, is when you can really start getting active in this game. And I think you need to look at your credit. We only have this credit score nonsense here in America, but make sure there's nothing on there that doesn't belong on there. Clean it up, because that alone can take 6 to 7 months or longer, even if it's totally not your fault. So be mindful, get all your ducks in a row in regards to your finances, your saving, how much you would have to put down, your credit score, all that jazz. And then start going at it. And I'm going to say this to you. Don't be afraid to look. You don't want to waste anyone's time, of course, but don't be afraid to look. Don't feel like you have to have every single detail in order, because you're not anyways. You could look and find something and go back to the bank, and it could, change course. I think you need to get a way better understanding on what it is that you really want. And I also want to say to you, don't be too picky. If you were to start off with some like small property with a considerable amount of land in a great location that you could easily resell, you may want to just get something so that you're not flushing your money down the toilet to a landlord. Okay, you're actually investing it in something, and then figure out while you're living there, I think I want to upgrade. I think I have a better understanding of what I really want, where I want to be, and then stay there for a couple years. Don't get attached, sell it off and upgrade. Okay. So yeah, at about a year and a half out from now, you could start. All right. Thank you so much, Edgar. We're going to look at another question here from a Don, and this is a $10. So Don wants to know, this is on Instagram. He says, hi, Ivy, can I get a general finance reading? Okay. So generally for you, Don, what I'm feeling is like, I feel like you're trying to catch your breath. I feel like something's giving you anxiety, and it's almost like, I don't want to lose this. So you may find that looking into your future a little ways, but even currently, this is really happening for you now, and then over to the right, which is your future. A lot of this is free will because it's going up in front of me. So you're going to want to use your free will wisely. You do control the energy here, but don't hoard. Don't think mentally in regards to your finances in terms of like, I have to hold on to this. I cannot lose this. I'm afraid, this may fall apart in some way. I do think that this is a period of time for you to do a little bit of like a leapfrog game. They show you like a frog, which is the symbol of prosperity, jumping from lily pad to lily pad, which is another symbol of prosperity. But what does a frog do? It has to be adaptable. Frog can go from water to land and land to water. Okay. But if you don't jump, you get nothing. So you're going to find yourself in a period of time for at least the next 3 months where you have to be fluid and make some changes. I also feel some money coming in here. And I want to say that, if you're making a calculated risk, don't think that's a major risk. All right. Be realistic about what it is that you're doing, even if maybe other people would not make that decision. They would never take that leap. Don't worry about what other people do. Okay. There are a million tadpoles in the pond who will never make it to higher ground than that. Okay. They'll never become bigger. So forget everybody else. I wouldn't even ask other people. Obviously, listen to me, listen to your guides, listen to Spirit today. But beyond that, okay, you know what you need to do. I think that the other thing that's important for you, and this isn't coming in just right now, but I want to say possibly showing up around the 6 months out from now, you have a financial opportunity that is like an investment opportunity coming in for you that could get you substantially ahead if you were to be ready, have your eyes and ears open to take it and invest in it. It's up to your free will whether you do that or not. But it's almost like it's coming in as a reward for you being willing to make some of these current changes. I also think that are feeling things right now where you are, and this could be like more career related, work related, are feeling a little bit stagnant. So it feels like, one step forward, two steps back, or a little bit of like mouse on the wheel energy. I think that when you're experiencing something like that, what you're trying to do right now is master the skill of knowing when you're supposed to like push harder, nose to the grind, stay with it longer, or you're supposed to say, this really isn't working. It's not producing what it used to, or it's not producing what I hoped it would, or what I was contracted to be here for. Okay. And I'm not willing to put in that amount of effort to this. So you really need to figure out once and for all what that means to you, because the universe is sort of judging you based on the amount of energy you are willing to put out. I also think you have some expertise here that you're not fully using. So use your speech more. Speech, leadership, communication. You can sell ketchup popsicle to a lady in white gloves. You need to be mindful of how you affect other people around you and use that more. Okay. It's like collecting dust. All right. Thank you so much for that question, Don. We're going to move on to another one. And this is from Ayana. This is a $5 question. And Ayana wants to know, how much longer will I work as a paramedic? I feel like that's up to you. You seem to be approaching burnout, but I don't feel you entirely there just yet. And you may argue that and be like, no, I'm there. But I think really it could get worse, so we don't want that to happen. But I think if you were to choose to stay a while longer, you could be doing this for at least another 3 months and still have days where you're feeling pretty jazzed about what you're doing. Maybe you sleep really well because you did something significant that day with your work. I mean, it is in alignment with your life contract, giving healing to people, helping people. But I also feel like you do well in a point of crisis, even if you don't necessarily feel like it or think that way about yourself. So I think at this point, if you're working actively toward building something else, it looks like entrepreneurship, business ownership, a side hustle. If you're actively working toward building up something else, it could be, I want to say possibly 8 months, depending on how you handle this, but possibly also about a year to a year and 2 months, maybe even 3, before you could really count on that income. So be careful jumping ship too early and then shutting down the flow of prosperity because you're becoming needy. Okay. We don't want to do that. If you were to leave this type of work and go get something more mainstream, so that you could combine both, like your side hustle and also have a more mainstream income, that may be better for you. But sometimes I do wonder, if the paramedic work is, kind of working. So you have some questions to answer. This is really falling into your free will zone, how you handle all of this. It's not like this is 100% destiny charted. So, figure out what else you may want to be doing. The most important thing is that you're not putting so much stress on any side hustle that you have. Okay. And this is for everybody. I just want to take a second to explain this. Here's a good example. When my students graduate, okay, they will go one of two ways. You can always tell if they listen to me or they completely ignored me the whole time. They will either hold on to their day job and they will invest with their chest in doing light work and receiving payment for that and having reciprocity there, all the good things. And they will allow that to grow as it should, or they will quit their day job and they will put so much pressure upon themselves and the potential clients and the universe to pay all their bills, put a roof over their head, and feed them and their families. Okay. That everything implodes and they don't understand why they end up in a rut and they can't get back out of it. Oh, I thought I had a gift. I thought I had a this. I thought I had a that. I told you not to do that. You need to find a way to do it that is going to allow for you to really show up with the highest vibration that you can. And it's not just for doing light work. I'm saying this to everybody because it's with anything you're getting into that is entrepreneurship, business ownership. It's new for you. It's a side hustle. You want it, but you can't shut down the blessings coming from the universe toward it because you are now codependent with it and needy. The universe reads it as greedy. Okay. So keep the flow going. Keep it light. Keep it light. Kind of like dating. Okay. Keep it light to see what's really of value there. Don't put so much pressure, okay, on money in the same way that you don't want to be putting pressure on a human being in a romantic relationship. None of this ever works. Okay. We know these laws innately. We just have been raised up in a society that trains us to do the polar opposite. Okay, so you got to deprogram. All right, let's move on to another question here. This is coming in from Edgar. This is a $10 question. And Edgar wants to know, do you see me and Jennifer having a private practice together someday? It reminds me of I'm seeing I just rented, I don't know what came over me, but like the Anne of Green Gables series, and I haven't watched since I was like 6 years old. It reminds me a little bit of like there's Anne of Green Gables, and then like at one point Gilbert, came in and like offered her the school. Like he gave something up for her to have because she couldn't leave town at that point. And there was a lot of exchange going on there, but it wasn't necessarily putting the two of them under the same literal roof, even though they both worked in the same field. It reminds me of that a little bit. So I think that what may go on with you and Jennifer into the future is that there's some trade-off of information. It's almost like you're telling her that you found a valuable opportunity. You're not telling everyone, but you're telling her, and she's getting on board with that and being able to take advantage. She also has networking opportunities that you can get involved with, that are going to benefit you. It seems like it's going back and forth a bit. And then the private practice, if that happens, and this is a big if at this point, I would say like maybe not that small, maybe like a 25 to 30% likelihood as of today, and this could change. But it seems like if that happens, it would be under the umbrella of a lot of other people. It almost reminds me of like a law firm when they've got like 9 partners and there's a ton of other paralegals and stuff working there. It could be under something bigger. So there would be many of you, and I think that what you guys are really doing in terms of working as partners over the years is giving a lot of referrals as well. So it's almost like, she's full, she's giving some to you, or there's an expertise, that she has that you don't, or you don't want to work with somebody. I have her mostly doing this. I don't want to work with this person, or I want to take on this situation. She thinks she's like, tapped out or whatever. It's coming to you. So that way. And that will happen regardless, as long as you guys continue to be friends. All right. Interesting. That's a lot of fun. I love that question. I think it's so important to look at networking and assisting our wealth when we find people that we know hold the same values as us, the same morality as us. Those are good bets and worth the time and investment because the universe supports that. And so it's a constant flow. You never know where that may lead. Love it. Okay. Do we have any more questions coming in here? Yolanda said, woo, I got it. Okay. I'm on it. Good. Divinity Rose said, my family doesn't want me to leave, but I feel like I need to take a leap of faith. Yeah, for sure. Can't stay put for people. It never works out. Okay. We have a question here, a $5 question from a Lily. And Lily wants to know, what do you recommend when you get in chronic poverty cycles? As soon as I get money, I lose it. Okay. I feel like every time we do this show, I get this question. This is a great question. Anyone else have this? You get money, you lose the money. Sometimes to the same dollar amount or to the penny, and it can mess with your head because then you think, okay, I've got like some kind of like even Steven curse going on here. Why is this happening? I think that, what you need to be looking at here when you say chronic poverty cycles is sort of like what we talked about earlier. Change the way you think of money and prosperity in general. So redefine prosperity. If I were you, I would get a notepad and a pen and I would write down what real prosperity is to you. It's, slow mornings. It's being able to take the time to have that extra cup of coffee. It's not having to worry about every penny you're spending at the grocery store. Maybe it is, home ownership. Maybe to you, it is having more time to travel and have experiences versus owning stuff. Okay, having objects and a ton of materialism. Maybe you don't want to have anything to do with that. Maybe being wealthy for you is freedom and travel, experiences, relationships, right? Curious lifestyles. It's like you need to really have a better understanding about what wealth means to you. I think, again, write that down. And then this idea of it coming in and then immediately going back out, that's a very real thing. Okay. The universe is clearly trying to show you what you need to learn from that experience. And while it isn't obvious, you do need to ask that question every time it happens, or why that cycle is still happening. Right now, what you're doing today and asking this question, and we're all putting our energy into this to help you along, is you're saying, I want to break this cycle. And so next time you're going to visualize that when money comes in, you are able to hold it. You are able to invest it in something more. You're able to use it as leverage for something greater. You're able to spend it on things that increase your prosperity and your energy level and your enjoyment, your pleasure in life. You want to start visualizing the opposite of what's been happening, because when you start visualizing that anything that comes, it's like, well, forget it. I'm not going to keep it anyways. Or you're having flashbacks to all the times it was, taken away from you. That's what you start manifesting again, because the universe is only reacting, and the law of attraction is only reacting to where your mind and imagination goes. You have to put a stop to it. Okay. So this is really about mind control. This is about telling the story in a different way. And every time you catch yourself backsliding, you slap yourself on the hand and you say, I'm stopping that thought right there and I'm replacing it with visions of what is going to happen next time. Okay. So, I know sometimes that can be easier said than done, but the bottom line is that anything we're dealing with in money and resources is no different than any other law in the universe. We've just been told that it is. So if you were, here's a good example, and this is for everybody. If you were sick, okay, and every time, you thought about your illness, you thought, oh, I'm going to have this the rest of my life. And you did what the old timers do and the baby boomers, and they claim their disease, my diabetes. Okay. It's like, that's gross. You don't want to have anything to do with that. Right. So you would look at your current health condition and you would detach from it, and you would simply work on your healing every single day, energetically, literally, holistically. And you would expect and claim a better outcome, okay, than continuing on with it. So think of your money the same way, okay? We have any other questions coming in here? Okay, I think we're at time. Okay, looks good. So If you guys want to book a financial reading with me, you could do that on the website anytime. You could also book a party, a psychic fair, or a reading of any kind. I do a whole bunch of different stuff up there. Go to Rivera Psychic Medium.com, and I will see you guys back here for our Roots Revival church service on, I believe it's the 25th, Sunday. And I am doing a sermon on neurodivergence versus intuition. What are the similarities? What are the differences? What's being overlooked? My God, there's so much overlapping there. All right. So it's going to be super interesting. I will see you guys then. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Spirit. Have a great